Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over the market, let's go over Tesla, let's go over what is happening today. A bit of an interesting day today, right? Tesla with a phenomenal bounce today, which we'll discuss, talk about. Is the bottom in, right? Was that it? Like, was that the bottom? Has 160 proven to be the bottom for Tesla, or is there more pain ahead, right? I'll give you my personal thoughts on it moving forward and all that stuff, and we'll just take a quick look at the market itself. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live down below for just $2.99 a month. You could access all my thoughts, updates, posts, technical analysis updates on Tesla throughout the day, every single day as it's moving. And yeah, I told my members exactly what was gonna see, what I thought was gonna happen today, right? So we saw how Tesla, by the way, I guess let's talk about Tesla quickly. Up about 6.3% on the day. Beautiful day, closing just shy of us $174, right? The absolutely phenomenal rally along with Google. Even, well, Apple gave up a lot of the gains, but Apple had a decent run as well. Markets up, okay, but Tesla with an obvious, beautiful rally off of the news of, in my opinion, the main one, of course, being Tesla, which I told my members about yesterday on Sunday. Model Y prices went up, right? They increased Model Y prices, or at least they're saying they're going to soon, which is good, right? It's obviously good for, margins, the bottom line potentially even as well. So, overall positive news, right? Shows that potentially margins have bottomed, right? And Tesla rising on that kind of news, which is great. And I talked about how I would want to see a quick drop to about 165 to retest, and it's successful. The move to the low 170s should be next. And that's exactly what happened today, right? That's exactly what happened today. I want to jump in here really quick in the 1 hour chart, right? We opened the day, had a massive fall, right? I bought 166 and then I wrote it up, sold because I thought it might be a bear flag, and then I rebought the 170 break and then sold again, and now I'm back to being essentially neutral. But we'll talk about overall what I see moving forward, right? But overall, usually what I've noticed is whenever Tesla gaps up like this, it always sells off initially for the first 15 minutes. More often than not, it'll just bounce right back up and continue its way up, and vice versa. If it starts with a massive gap down the first 15 minutes, usually massive buying pressure, and then it just continues back down again, usually even lower. Pretty common stuff. So let's talk about Tesla overall. I want to do a little bit of a thought exercise with all of you right now. So this is interesting. Take a look at this chart. If you were to look at this chart right now, would you say it's bullish? Would you say it's bearish, right? Maybe pause the video if you want, but would you say that this chart is in a bullish pattern or a bearish pattern? Would you look to be buying this chart or looking to soon buy this chart? Or would you looking to be not buying this chart, right? What do you see in this chart? I'm actually kind of curious what people see, right? Personally, what I see in this chart is the fact that a massive drop, and then it started setting up higher highs, higher lows, constant higher highs, higher lows, right? It's in a bullish structure, right? And the only way for this pattern on this chart to go from seemingly being bullish so far to being bearish is, well, breaking this low right here and now creating a fresh lower low, which now shows potential weakness and especially setting a lower high, right? That would be what could make this chart bearish. So far, at the moment, this chart is bullish. You might be wondering, why am I even showing you this chart? What does this have to do with Tesla? Well, this is actually Tesla flipped. This is the inverted Tesla, essentially. This is where if you take Tesla's chart and completely flip it upside down, this is what it looks like. So just kind of, sometimes it's interesting to look at the flipped version of charts, because that's kind of, it gives you sometimes a cleaner perspective, honestly. It gives you like a double perspective where, maybe if you're not really seeing enough here, you flip it and sometimes you can see more things clear, honestly, right? It's a good thought exercise to sometimes do. But that's kind of what I'm seeing on Tesla. Now, let's talk about it though, right? So what is going on with Tesla, right? It's doing some very crazy things right now, right? Because I don't even know where that was. Somewhere around here, I think, around 53. We had a massive breakdown from the channel, right? We had this massive channel that we obviously, kept zigzagging down in between, right? And then, we finally broke down Thursday, right? A massive breakdown Thursday. We had an inside day candle on Friday, which, is showing positive signs. We talked about this on Friday, how, at the moment, this inside day candle right here pretty much is just, well, you buy 160 and you sell 164/5 until one of them breaks, right? This is what I always say. It's exactly the same thing that happened when we were all the way up here. I talked about the exact same thing, right? And so far, clearly, obviously it happened pre-market, unfortunately, but we did break above, right? So we kind of broke this little consolidation trend and we moved up, right? And we had this beautiful rally. But the thing to note is the fact that there's two things here. First and foremost, we came right into the resistance right over here, right? This was that area that we kept falling back into, right? Remember, we acted as a support over here, had a massive bounce, right? This was just post earnings, right? Remember, this was the earnings drop, had a massive consolidation, came down, bounced here, massive bear flag, came down even further, found support at pretty much the exact same area until we ultimately broke below it, retested it on this candle right here, and then continued our way down, right? And then we found support in the 160s so far, at least, right? We came right back up to essentially retest this breakdown. Now, the close wasn't bad. I will admit the close actually wasn't bad. It was a decent close, right? A stronger of a close than I honestly expected it to be, which is good. That's a good sign for the bulls, right? That shows that there's potential here. There's actually potential here, but it's too early for the bulls to call, to be excited, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? Again, I don't want to be a party pooper. I'm just going to tell you how I personally see it. Bullish or bearish, I don't care. But I do think it's a little early for the bulls to be excited right now. And why is that? Well, because at the moment, we're just simply retesting a breakdown, which is very common to do. Whenever you break down or out of a certain congestion period, pattern, whatever, very common to come back down, whether it's quick or not, but eventually to retest that breakdown or breakout. Usually it's a successful retest. It's pretty rare it ends up being a false breakout or a breakdown, right? And you can usually continue back down or up, I guess, in the same direction, the respective direction. So in this case, the way I look at it is, well, again, we broke down below this congestion period, a double potential bottom support that could have been, broke down below, and now we're just coming back up to retest. And so far, we're finding a little bit of resistance. Now, granted, it's not crazy resistance, right? It's not amazing resistance. The bears aren't stepping in as hard as they, in my opinion, should have. So that's giving the bulls a little bit of hope here. What I'm looking for the bulls here is this, right? If you're a bull, this is what you want to be seeing in my eyes, and this is what I'm personally going to be doing. Let's go back to the 65-minute chart, right? If the bulls can break above, in my opinion, 175, and especially and ideally turn it into a support, that's the first step. There's still more work to be done, but it's a damn good step. That will be a phenomenal step forward for the bulls, and that would be obviously bullish, at least potentially bullish, and it will potentially even that would be the first trigger to even start thinking about reversing and flipping this momentum back to being overall bullish. Now you might be wondering, okay, well, how do we flip this momentum to be overall bullish, right? Well, this is kind of going back to that inverse chart where it was a little bit easier to see, in my opinion, right? This is why we do those charts, but constantly setting lower lows and lower highs, right? Same as we saw in the inverted chart. We're just constantly setting, in the inverted chart, higher highs, higher lows. Well, on Tesla, we're setting lower lows, lower highs. We want to set a higher low and we want to set a higher high. It's just that simple. If we can set a higher low and a higher high, Tesla has now officially broken the downtrend. Easiest way to do that is first and foremost is to essentially break above this area up here, which will be, a little bit of a ways away, about $205. If Tesla can break above $205 roughly, that would break this high, and we now officially set a fresh higher high. That's a break of trend. That is gonna be bullish. There's still a lot of work for that to be done, right? That's if you're extra careful and you're extra conservative. Another option is to break this yellow downtrend line, which at the moment, sometime around this week, is sitting around the low to mid 180s. That would be bullish as well. But there's a lot of work to be done for that. And like I said, 175 is the first level to break, in my opinion, for that to be a thing. Obviously, we also had this breakdown from this channel, which was very bearish. And so far, we're showing some pretty positive signs, potentially signaling this was a false breakdown, which would be bullish, actually, if that ends up being the case. It just needs more confirmation, in my opinion. This is just one candle, and we have FOMC on Wednesday. Who knows how that's going to go, especially considering CPI and PPI, especially PPI, came in substantially hotter than expected. We'll see how the market reacts to the Fed's and Jay Powell's comments on Wednesday. That will be spicy. That's why I'm a little bit, on the sidelines a little bit. I'm kind of scalping. I'm waiting for that to play out because I would rather miss a bit of a run, a bit of a rally, but then get a better confirmation on an entry to continue the rally or the momentum forward, assuming it's bullish momentum, of course, then potentially try to gamble and hope I'm right, hope the market doesn't tank post-Fed, FOMC, and then be left holding bags. I'd rather, do option A as opposed to option B. Just my opinion, of course. Now, let's talk about something else. So that's kind of the overall thought process I'm seeing on Tesla. But if Tesla cannot break above, in my opinion, 175 like tomorrow or post Wednesday, really, but in general, and if it starts really rejecting above 175, we're definitely not out of the woodworks yet, right? There's still more pain ahead, in my opinion, right? At the very least, come back to 160. If not, I still think, this 150, worst case, realistically, 140s, is still in the cards. I really still think it's in the cards. Now, another indicator I started using that I'm actually liking quite a lot on TrendSpider, it's actually only on TrendSpider, is this bottom one right here. It's called Chats, right? So if I open it up over here, Chats. Shonday Absolute Trend Strength, right? Really cool indicator. This is the guy that made the stochastic RSI and several other indicators. It's a really cool indicator. Essentially what it does is it signals momentum and trend, right? So in this case, for instance, actually here, let's go back to that inverted chart very quickly. What was it? -1 slash, I forgot how I did it. Equals 1 slash. Yeah. Right. So you can see here, right? Obviously, we talked about how the inverted version of Tesla is bullish. It's bullish. There's no arguing. It's bullish until structure breaks. It's bullish. You can see the Chandi indicator at the bottom, right? The chat indicator, well into the green, showing, you know, obvious bullish momentum, right? Now, if we go back to Tesla, right, well into the purple, showing bearish momentum, right? Showing that we're in a downtrend. We're absolutely in a downtrend, and we're still not breaking it. The only way, in my opinion, to really start potentially breaking this downtrend is to exit out of this purple zone. The second you exit out of the purple zone, that could be an opportunity to start swinging long, and that could be a potential change of trend, right? That could be what, you know, you're looking for. You can also enable it with the colors right here, which, you know, is respective to the colors down here, right? Obviously, gray means it's in neutral zone, purple is bearish / bearish momentum, green is obviously the opposite, you know, bullish momentum. Clearly, we're in purple candle still, right? So the bearish momentum is still there. Like, there's still work to be done. This is what I'm trying to say. This is great. This is a phenomenal push, but there's still work to be done for bulls in order to really make Tesla, you know, move anywhere meaningfully, right? This could just be a dead cat bounce, right? Because we're coming in right into resistance, and so far we are finding some rejections, especially with FOMC on Wednesday. I'm just, you know, I don't want people to get liquidity trapped over here, because in my opinion, something smells fishy about here, right? You have Google pumping on news, the fact that Google's Gemini might be used in Apple's infrastructure, completely sold off the whole, like not the whole gain, obviously, but a lot of the gains, right? Bearish looking candle. Apple also sold off, you know, majority of its gains, right? Apple looks not bad here, right? Apple flipped the MACD bullish. You can see now, right? Apple was bearish in this purple momentum, but you can see Apple peeking its head above the purple now, right? On this candle. Obviously came back into potential support now, which was a resistance. So Apple's actually looking like there is some potential here, but obviously, you know, nothing is guaranteed. But anyway, that's just an example of the indicator, right? But, you know, the main thing I'm looking for Tesla here is the fact that, you know, there are some hopeful signs for bulls here. There's definitely something to work with here for bulls, but there's still more work to be done. At the very least, bulls want to break above 175 minimum to even start considering a potential change of trend. Step number 2, which could be more meaningful, is breaking below this yellow line, which is the trend line of the top of this potential descending wedge that we're potentially still in, since we broke back into it, which again, a false breakdown is potentially bullish actually here. So that's a good sign for bulls, right? But still early to call it, in my opinion. And the most convincing thing that bulls can ask for is essentially, you know, if Tesla ever breaks this 206, and if it creates a fresh higher high, the trend most likely has shifted, especially if it comes back down on the next pullback and sets an obvious lower low. The trend should have shifted, and Tesla should be now officially bullish and, you know, easily come up to the top of this channel, you know, within a month, let's say, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Options flow all over the place, right? A lot of bullish flow. I'm sure you can tell where the morning sell-off was. I'm sure you can tell where the afternoon or noon-ish pump was. Granted, there were pretty much 2.2 million puts came in the sea of bullish calls that came in, which I don't know what they're doing with these puts right now. They're obviously down on it, so we'll see how that plays out for them. Maybe they're betting on FOMC being very bearish. I don't know. But after that, it was just mixed, really. A lot of mixed calls and puts. You know, 1.3 million put right here, 155 put for, what is this? May 17th, right? So not too far out. We'll see, right? Some bullish calls came in as well. So, you know, it's a little bit all over the place. I wouldn't say anything's too super duper convincing, but we'll see how it plays out. In my opinion, this is just, you play by the levels, right? You play by the levels. Just let the levels decide for you. Kind of like what I did, right? It broke out. I wasn't worried. I expected it to come back down. It did. I entered, made some money on it, right? Now the same concept. If we break above 175, I'm expecting a bullish continuation, most likely up until probably the retest of this yellow line, which honestly, at the very least, I'd expect about low 180s, if not maybe even 185. That wouldn't shock me, but I would need to see a break of 175 for that to happen, which, you know, it's possible, but that's what I would be eyeballing personally. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So let me know what you think down below. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Yeah, make sure you join the membership section down below. We'd love to have you there. A lot of, you know, posts that I at least try to, you know, do a lot of posts that are hopefully useful. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.